Hello, Dad.
What's up?
Nothing. How are you?
Another day getting older.
Yeah, that's all you always say.
What do you want me to say? I'm fine. I'm skipping rope. I'm, running around the block 10 times.
Well, those last couple things you'd have to actually be athletic to do, but I would appreciate, something more happy, upbeat.
Yeah, I'm happy. I cooked dinner and I'm good to go.
That's nice. How's your 4th of July?
Another day.
You didn't do anything special?
Nope.
Hmm.
And you?
Well, in the Constitution, we have a lot of rights. Have you ever looked at the Constitution?
No.
We have the amendments. I believe the Fifth Amendment is the right to bear arms.
Oh, so you got a gun now, huh?
No, I'm very much against guns, but I believe that they added a new amendment, and it's the right to
Don't
bear.
even go there because I'll hang up on you right now. I know where you're going.
I was going to say the new amendment is the right to bear balls, which was an amendment created by Manscaped. Damn it! Son of a bitch.
Honestly, we had him longer than what I thought.
Yeah. He apparently he's against the right to bear balls, which I think is a very important right that we should all take advantage of, Aaron.
Hey, I'm taking my hat off now. USA! USA! USA!
That's the great thing about America.
Yeah.
The freedom to do as we choose. And, 70% of mates would prefer that you choose to shave your testicles. We just celebrated the 4th of July, but what better way to celebrate the 4th than by getting the 4th generation performance package, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0, Aaron.
If I were to give it a star rating,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not talking about in the Tokyo Dome, I'm talking about right here, right now, in the good old US of A, I'd give it more than 5 stars.
Oh, okay. So
More than 6.
Wow.
More than 8.
Okay.
More than 10. You know what I'd give it? 13 stars. For the original 13 colonies in our United States of America. Land of the free. Home of the brave.
Well, 13 colonies, but only 2 balls. Your 2 balls need to be trimmed with the Performance Package 4.0, which inside you not only get the Lawnmower 4.0, but you also get the Weed Whacker, so you can trim that unsightly nose hair and ear hair. You get the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, the Crop Reviver Toner, and of course, the Performance Boxer Briefs, and oh yeah, a travel bag to hold your goodies. And of course, the trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, is the GOAT of all ball trimmers. Yeah, I said it. It's the GOAT of all ball trimmers. You might even say it's the alpaca of all ball trimmers, Aaron.
Well, it'll sniff your mustache for $5.
Well, no, you don't have to worry about that mustache on the testicles with the Lawnmower 4.0, which of course has the 4000K LED spotlight, the 7000 RPM motor. It's waterproof, so you can definitely use it in the shower. You can drop it in the toilet. It should be perfectly fine. We don't recommend you do that, of course, but you have no worries if you drop it in the toilet. And listen, if you don't believe us, you should believe the over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped.
2 million people who are enjoying Manscaped included. One of those people's William Jefferson Clinton.
I heard that he did not have sexual relations with that woman, but if he did, I would imagine he used Manscaped.
He definitely used Manscaped. How do you think he had sex with secretaries and interns?
You can leave a stain on a dress, but you don't want to be a stain on the underwear of life, and you will be if you don't get Manscaped, especially if you don't get it using our promo code PARDON. That's PARDON, Pardon. Save 20% off and get free shipping. And it's a great way to support the podcast. God bless America, and God bless this show.
Liberty and justice for your balls.
Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I am your host. I'm Gregory Iron. Today's episode 110, and gee golly willikers, do we have a show for you today. Of all the shows we've ever done, this will certainly be one of them. Our guest today, it's not Razor Ramon.
Sounds like it, though, don't it?
Couldn't have found something more patriotic. Okay.
Pardon the interruption. USA! USA! USA!
Why was that the song you picked? Knowing that.
For the guest today, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
Did I spoil it?
With that song?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Why? Do you know the name of that song?
What's the name?
It's
of the
not
song?
the original because it's uncopyrighted.
What's the name of it?
Those Shoes.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there. On the heels of July 4th.
On the heels.
Yes, on the heels of July 4th, our special guest is Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. But, okay. God damn it. Okay, can we start the show now?
Here. Hold on. Oh no.
Okay, anytime you're ready. Oh, yep. Turning it back up now. Okay.
I turned it back up so I could hit the spot where they say those shoes, but then you spoke over it, so
Yep.
I guess I'll have to wait and turn this back up until it gets to it again.
Don't. Please don't. Let's just start the show. Come on, man. Fuck, dude.
All right, man. I'm just trying to get in the mood for the holiday. This is freedom.
Well, the holiday's already passed.
When was it?
It's a couple days ago, man.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
Jesus.
What
God.
holiday?
For fuck's sake. Independence Day.
Oh,
You didn't do
and
anything?
You like that because you're an independent wrestler.
You didn't do anything for July 4th?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I think somebody set off some fireworks across the street.
Okay, I said, what did you do?
Yeah, I went outside and watched them.
Okay.
And then I cheered on the ones that were red, white, and blue, like the country I represent, America, motherfucker.
Oh, boy. All right.
Do you want me to get my gun right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I don't have one.
That's
I
good.
wonder if I should tell people that.
Probably not.
They'd be like, yo, he ain't got his dog. He don't have a gun. We go over and rob that fool.
Yeah.
Guess what? I ain't got shit.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of wrestling merchandise in here that I'm waiting to bag up for the next Howard the Animal Steel package that we're sending out. And by the way, I believe some of our patrons should be receiving that anytime soon.
Some of our patrons have received them already, and they were messaging me about how we outdid ourselves this time, Aaron.
We did a good job.
Because in this package, we sent out, well, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but 2 of the very special items that were in this package were rare autographed 8x10s from former guest of the show, IPW legend Richie Rouge, and the one and only Jumpin' Jeff Farmer. That's right. I tracked down both of these individuals, sent them out 8x10s. They signed them. They sent them back to me, and then I sent them out to you on patreon.com/Iron on Wrestling.
We sent them out.
I mean,
yes, you physically
I physically
transported them
Yeah.
to the post office. And yes, you put them in packages and sent them out technically yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But we sat here and put the packages together.
We did. And, you know, if you're wondering, we still have some autographed 8x10s from Richie Rouge and Jumpin' Jeff Farmer. There were only 30 of each signed, so this is a very rare item. So if this is something you're interested in, message me directly on any of my social media accounts, at Gregory Iron, at Gregory_Iron on Instagram, and maybe we can work something out, because this is a one-of-a-kind item. Well, 30 of a kind each, but obviously I sent some out to my Patreon subscribers, and you may never get another one of these. I even have proof from Jumping Jeff Farmer that he did indeed sign these. It's a pretty awesome thing, but that's what we do for our Patreon subscribers. We want to give them awesome and rare items. We want to make sure that they're enjoying not only the content that we provide, but the packages that we send on behalf of Howard Animal Steel. But we're not talking about Patreon right now. We're talking about this interview. And usually we do an intro and we then segue into the interview. But I got to say, I feel like we have to do this interview early. Because, Aaron, I need you to hear this, because I feel like we need to talk about this after.
All right.
And to help us with that, following this, I'm going to get Bobby Beverly on the horn to provide some context.
The Bev?
Yes, the Bev, the one and only the Bev from 440. Aaron, very unprofessional, will not turn his phone off for some reason.
Somebody's poking me.
Okay.
On Facebook.
Poking you?
Yeah.
That's still a thing?
Yeah, that's happening right now.
He's really showing me that
just got
someone
poked.
poked him on Facebook, so he's not lying.
So that's my bad. I'm sorry. I'll turn this volume down.
I can't believe that's a real fucking thing that you're doing right now.
What about you?
Let me tell you about this. I'm going to set up this interview with Tony Atlas for you before we go to it. So, shout out to his agent, Moose, who is an agent for several legend wrestlers, who not only booked me for Appalachian Championship Wrestling this past Thursday in West Virginia, but took good care of me and the Bev, but also he hooked up this interview with Tony Atlas. However, Tony, along with Bob Orton Jr., were riding in a vehicle on their way to an autograph signing in Kentucky somewhere. So, obviously, this wasn't the most ideal of circumstances to do the interview.
But I'm sure Tony Atlas, being the professional that he is, came across as highly professional.
Yeah.
What about Big Bob?
What about him?
Does he come off as completely professional too?
Well, he's not in the interview.
Yeah, you said they were driving together though.
They were in the same car.
Okay, so do you hear Bob at all? Or should I just listen to the interview?
Yeah, well, you don't hear Bob at all,
Oh, okay.
but you do hear stuff that doesn't involve me,
Uh-huh.
or there really isn't much interest in me being involved in the interview.
I'm interested in it.
Well, we're going to go to it, and listen, if it's...
Hold on, I'm being poked again.
Okay.
I put it on vibrate.
Gotcha. I don't know.
Thanks.
I feel like there's some decent content in this interview. I could be wrong, but just keep in mind that if you start to listen to this and it's not tolerable, it's only about 30 minutes long, so you can fast forward. But I want you to come back, and I want you to stick around, because not only are we going to discuss this interview with Tony Atlas, we're going to discuss working with him the night before. That, of course, is going to be assisted by the Bev via phone call. And then later in the show, we also have a special appearance from Made in the USA, Lex Luger. That's right.
I believe that.
Well, believe it, because a few months back, patron subscriber Ryan Krasdalahala went out of his way to buy me a virtual meet and greet with Lex, because he knows that Lex was the first wrestler I ever met, and he didn't have to do that, but he did, and I was in a virtual chat with him for about 4 or 5 minutes. I got to ask him a question, and we're going to play that for you on the podcast later today. But right now, let's go to some words from our sponsor, Jesse Massey and SBS, and when we come back...
Hey, Jesse Massey.
Yeah.
SBS, that's no BS.
Wow.
Here in the U.S. of A.
Okay, well, why should I even play the commercial if you're just going to plug it right now?
Oh!
We're going to go to the commercial from Jesse. Before we go to the commercial from Jesse, let's talk about getting custom artwork done.
Oh, I get that done. I got a guy.
Do you?
Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine.
What's his name?
Juan. Have you ever heard of him?
Does he have a last name?
Of the Ortiz.
Oh, Juan Ortiz?
No, Juan of the Ortiz.
That's not his name. It's not his name at all. It's Juan Ortiz, and
His middle name's of the.
You're making stuff up. Listen, if you're in the pro wrestling industry, if you're in the entertainment industry, you probably realize the importance of custom merchandise. It brings in extra revenue for yourself, and the look and feel of the merch is a representation of the brand you're building. So you definitely don't want it to suck. That's why Aaron and I, we go to Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs. And maybe Juan's name is not familiar. It's probably familiar to you if you listen to this podcast. But if it's not familiar to you, just know that he's done some of the artwork for top-tier names in the industry.
Yeah, but he's never done gear for the Young Bucks.
He's definitely done merch for the Young Bucks.
Oh, yeah, but okay. The Young Bucks are on one level, but not like a legend like Hulk Hogan, a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, well, he's done merch for him, too.
What?
Ric Flair, CM Punk, Road Warrior Animal, rest in peace, the Lucha Brothers, Jungle Boy, even you and I, he's done merch for.
Man, he's good.
He's incredibly talented. Juan is one of the best dudes I know. And look, with over 14 years of experience and a portfolio of notable clients like that, I think it speaks for itself. Of the Dead Designs is the place to go. He'll make artwork for you at a super reasonable price, but it just doesn't have to be for your merchandise as well. He can do artwork for a family friend, for a gift, a holiday, just surprise someone special with a custom piece of art. All right, that's always a nice thing to do. Maybe you have someone that you want to impress with some artwork.
Yes. I would like to begin dating a woman, and then I would immediately go to Juan and say, hey, could you draw a picture of the girl I'm dating with her great-grandpappy walking together in heaven with fishing poles and a bucket of bait?
Okay, that's quite the idea to have. I hope that works out for
Only
you.
learn from the best, Greg.
That's not even true.
How's Nicole doing?
She's great. Juan is a one-man merch design
She
company.
got a sister?
She does.
Oh, okay.
Twin sister.
Maybe I should get that picture commissioned.
Okay.
Juan, if you're listening, I need a picture of Greg's girlfriend's sister walking on a cloud.
I guess you could just take a picture of my girlfriend because they're twins. and they look the same. So I guess
No, I'm not wanting a picture of your girlfriend. That's your girlfriend.
you
That's
wouldn't
up to you
know
to
the
have
difference. They're twins.
Yeah, but not all twins are the same. I dated a twin before, and her twin had a penis. They're twins. Oh, here's me and my twin. I bet you can't tell which one is us when the lights are off. Bet I can.
Okay.
Wasn't expecting that.
Juan's got openings in 2021
Sweet
here.
Jesus.
And if you tell him you heard this ad on Iron on Wrestling, you're going to save $10 on your first order. That's right. Save $10 on your first order. If you want to get in contact with Juan, go to his Instagram at ofthedead209. Find him on Facebook at facebook.com/ofthedeaddesigns, or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com. Hit him up today. You won't be disappointed. Of the Dead Designs, bringing your artwork to life. We will return to the Iron on Wrestling podcast in just a moment, but I wanted to take a couple minutes of this time to let you guys know that if you didn't realize it already, Iron on Wrestling is a DIY project. That's right, I'm recording all this myself. I'm editing it in-house all by myself. I'm coming up with the segments and the content, and I'm making sure that each and every Wednesday, by investing countless hours of my personal time, you guys have a new, unique, and entertaining episode blasting into your ear holes. So I hope you don't mind that for a few minutes each episode, you have to deal with a little bit of advertising. Because, quite frankly, I gotta pay those bills somehow. But you know, I don't just pick anyone to be an advertiser on the podcast. When I choose an advertiser for the show, I want to make sure that it's someone that can bring you, the listener, value. I often talk about Of the Dead Designs and my good buddy Juan Ortiz, who can create you a unique logo or t-shirt design for your personal brand. But once that t-shirt design is made, who's going to print it for you? Well, that's where Jesse Massey and SBS Printing comes in. Jesse is a good friend of mine, and much like me in this podcast, he's DIY. For over 10 years, Jesse has been printing t-shirts and hoodies in the comfort of his own home, and he's been the official t-shirt printer for guys like myself, Atticus Koger, Eddie Only, Ricky Shane Page, basically all the 440 guys. My favorite thing about Jesse Massey is the quick turnaround time. When I go to Jesse and I need a shirt design printed right away, I know that he'll have it ready for me within 3 to 5 days, sometimes even quicker. And on top of that, he's affordable. Jesse and SBS can print one color shirt designs for as low as $5. $5. Where are you going to find another deal like that? Now you're probably thinking at a price like that, there's no way these could be quality, long-lasting prints. Wrong! They're super high quality and they're going to last you a lifetime. Jesse and SBS can print you t-shirts, zip-up hoodies, sweaters, and so much more. I encourage you to hit up Jesse right now. Shoot him an email at antisepticmaxrock@gmail.com. That's ANTISEPTIC maxrock@gmail.com. With Jesse Massey and SBS, you're going to get the best. That's no BS.
Hey, buddy. Say that to my phone. Hold on. Dylan. Say that. I'm doing something right now, kid. Say that to my phone. Yeah, say that to my phone now, Dylan. Hurry up so I can do that. I am. Dylan, send to his phone. I am. I'm doing as fast as I can. I need that picture, Bob. You know my number? I got it right there. Okay, Tony, say it. I don't hear no beeping. It's said. Yeah, kid.
How are ya?
Good.
Where are you guys headed?
I don't have a clue. Ashland, Kentucky.
Okay. Oh, nice. Tony, you got some time to chat?
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool. first of all, I want to thank you for last night. I appreciate all the advice and everything.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, I was doing a lot of research this morning and last night, and you've had a long and historic career. You've done a lot of great things in pro wrestling, and as we talked about, as we alluded to in the promo that I did last night, I was a big fan growing up of Saba Simba, even though it was a short-lived character of yours. My question to you is, how was the Saba Simba idea pitched to you back in 1990 when you came back to the WWF?
How was it gave to me?
Yeah.
Well, they just called me in and somebody to costume, told me to get dressed, and that was it.
Yeah. Was it something that you were a fan of?
Of Saba Simba?
Yeah. Did you enjoy doing the character?
Oh, yes, I enjoy very much. Very much.
Now, one thing that I remember from when you debuted on WWF television was Roddy Piper on commentary putting over that you were, in fact, Tony Atlas. I don't know if you recall this at all, but he just said, "You can't fool me. That's Tony Atlas." Now, was that something that Piper was supposed to do and acknowledge the fact that you were previously Tony Atlas, or was that just something that Piper did on the fly?
No. What it was, you see, Vince was just trying to jerk me around there. You know, that's just Vince, Piper do what Vince tell him to do. So he would just jerk me around on that deal. Yeah, because I don't know what the commentators said, because they rehearsed what the... Yeah, might as well. That's a good one. Yeah, Vince would just jerk me around on that deal, because Vince always been like that. They never tell me nothing. See, with the WWE and with not just WWE, with independent promotion, everybody I work for, everything is need to know basis.
Sure.
Like most time, I don't know nothing until I get there. They don't tell you nothing. It's not like the olden days where the promoters give you all the information you need and make sure you're well informed. Most of the time, I don't get no information from Vince or most of the people I work for until I get there. I don't, because everybody's tight-lipped about everything. So no, when he said that or whatever Vince did, I don't know about it until it happens.
That makes sense. Now,
so and you know that you've been on the independent the same way. A guy would call you up and say, "Hey, I got you a book," and I said, "Yeah, where I'm going? You're gonna go to Virginia? Okay. Are you available? Yes." Click.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's not easy on the independents, I'll tell you that. But it sounds like
there's one guy that I always say is the best that I ever worked for. His name is Eric Sims.
Okay.
When you talk to Eric Sims, after you get talked to him, he send you all the information. Before you leave the house, you got an itinerary, you know where you're going, you know what you're gonna do, you know who you gotta talk to, you know what time to be there, you know what time you leave, you got your airfare, you got all the information on your hotel, you got everything. But Eric Sims, he do things the same way Vince McMahon does it. When you work for Vince, you stay in a hotel, you wake up in the morning, he stick the itinerary for that day underneath your door. So you wake up in the morning and you walk to your door, everything you need to do that day, what time you need to be there, what you need to do, everything is right there. But most guys, they don't think about that. They just worry about getting the date. And once they get the date, they get the confirm, you'll be lucky if you hear from this guy before you get on the airplane.
Right.
I work for one promoter. I don't even get my flight until the night before.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't shock me, though, because some independent promoters are a little shady, to say the least, Tony.
Well, I wouldn't say shady. It's just they just don't know how to they're lacking on information.
Sure.
Yeah, so you constantly have to ask questions. What is this? What is that? What? And that just they're not that they don't want to put the time into doing it. See, what happened was the phone. That's where the problem came in at.
Mhm.
Everybody texts and everything, and they try to do 5 or 6 things all at once. So once they call you and confirm the date, they figure they're done with you.
Sure.
Then they get on the phone doing something else. If you ever notice people today's time, you be very, very lucky if you see anybody go 10 minutes before they grab their phone. They're
Right.
always on it. So
Yeah.
by as soon as they get through talking to you, all of a sudden they go on the phone and they involved in something else. You no longer on their mind. They think about something else now. They already did that, so then they move on. So it makes it hard for talent to get any information. So when I do interviews and people ask me, because I don't know what the hell to tell you. The promoter ain't told me.
Right.
I can't tell you what I don't know.
Sure. When I think about your couple runs with Vince Jr., I think about the fact that you had the opportunity to work for not only Vince Jr. but also Vince Sr. What would you say the differences between Vince Jr. and Vince Sr. was in terms of working for them?
Vince Sr. was a man. Vince Sr. was a man. See, a man would tell you to your face what he want, what he think, what he want, mono or mono. And Vince Jr. could never tell you to your face what he think or what he want.
Mm.
Yeah, he don't have the kahunas to face you face to face.
So your relationship with
In
Vince...
fact, Stephanie McMahon got bigger balls than her father.
Oh wow. Well, how's your relationship with Steph over the years?
I don't know her that well to make any, but I know she's a very strong-willed, very strong-willed woman.
Sure. Now I know that you are definitely old school, but do you keep up with the current product at all?
No.
It's hard to watch at times, would you say?
It's not that. I just don't have the time.
I gotcha. Have you seen?
I don't. Yeah, I don't have time to sit around and watch a 3-hour wrestling show.
Right. No, I understand that. I don't know if you heard, but now that the WWE is now having their network on Peacock, a lot of the people from Peacock are going back and editing old racist segments or segments that involve like stereotypes in pro wrestling. Now, in terms of like going back and editing old content like that, where do you stand? Do you think it's something that should be done, or do you think that it should be something that's left in the product and could be maybe a teachable moment to the younger?
Well, once again, kid, you know something I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
it's hard for me to speak on something I don't know nothing about.
Well, I get that, but so as I'm telling you this though, like, do you think that it's something that they should do? Should they cut out old content like that?
I still can't comment on something until I see it myself.
Sure. I get that one.
I mean, you just told me about this. I can't all of a sudden give you a comment on something I just heard about 2 seconds ago.
I got you. I understand that completely, Tony.
And then you was very brief on what you told me. So,
Tony, I apologize.
You got to do like Earl Sim. Give me a itinerary on what's going on. What are they doing now again?
They're editing the content on the on Peacock. Like they're going back and like segments that can be considered racist, like when DX parodied Nation of Domination, they edited that out of Monday Night Raw and stuff like that. So I was just thinking, like, is that something that we think that they should be doing, not only from wrestling, but old television shows in general? Like, or is that something that could be a teachable moment to keep in the product? Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
This is the first I heard of it. Yeah, I know. So that means they ain't gonna show Saba Simba no more, huh? So I'm getting cut out of something, you telling me? Once again, I'm fired and I don't even know I'm fired.
That might be the case. I don't know, Tony. I'm
They
sorry,
consider
man.
me being black. I'm racist. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, Tony.
They cut out no more Saba Simba.
Very unfortunate. Well, something that you do know a lot about is your time teaming with the Soul Man, Rocky Johnson. You guys were the Soul Patrol. You guys were the first African-American WWF Tag Team Champions, which is a huge accomplishment. Now, when the idea of you guys winning the tag team titles was laid out to you, was that something that you both realized was going to be very historic?
Let me ask you something, kid. I told somebody else this is true.
Sure.
I'll give you a little survey to do.
Okay.
How many times when after me and Rocket won the belt?
Yeah.
After we won the belt, right?
Yep.
How many times did we team up after that?
I don't think it was too long because you guys won in what, the end of 83? Is that right?
No, I said after we won the belt, right?
Yeah.
How many times did me and Rocket teamed up, wrestle as a team after we won the title?
I'm not sure.
Now we world champion, right?
Yes.
How many matches you think me and Rocket had as tag champions all together? How many matches have you seen of me and Rocket as a team? How many matches have you seen?
I can't recall one, to be honest.
Because you only saw one.
Ah, that makes sense.
Nobody ever think about that.
Very true.
Cannot find a match of me and Rocket Johnson. There's only 2 matches you can find of me and Rocket Johnson.
Why is that?
2. Well, I don't know. I wasn't in charge. I teamed up with Rocket 3 times.
Yeah.
Together. We only had 3 matches where we was a team. 3 in 8 months.
That's weird.
Nobody ever noticed.
It just seemed like
we teamed up when we won the belt.
Yeah.
We did 1 match in Toronto as a tag team, and we teamed up when we lost the belt. But if you search all over, you're only gonna find 2 matches of me and Rocket Johnson as a team. When we won the belt, when we lost the belt.
Why do you think that was, that you guys only had a limited amount of matches during that time period?
Brother, that's something you got to ask Vince.
What was it like in that initial match, winning the belts from the Wild Samoans? Do you have any awesome memories from that night?
No, not really, because they didn't do nothing with it.
True.
See, when you do something, okay, let's say you go out and you buy a new car, right?
Yeah.
But you never get to drive it.
And
then somebody say, how you like your new car? Well, how in the hell, how in the hell you going to answer that question?
Right.
They give you the car, but then they take the keys away. Where you can never drive it.
That would not be fun.
Exactly. So that's why being Rocket, we don't even really talk about the title, because what good was it? They gave us something they gave us a new car that we couldn't drive. Nobody ever noticed. Every time they talk about being Rocket, don't talk about 1 match, right?
Yes, very true.
Right, because that's the only match they ever seen.
For you personally,
the match when we won the belt and when we lost the belt, that was it.
Yes. For you,
I tell everybody this. Go on the computer. I asked my friend here, see how many matches you can find of Rocket. Ask the computer how many matches the Tony had. My buddy's looking it up right now. You're not going to find any, because we never teamed up after we won the belt. We won the belt that night, and it separated us the next day. You answer that one, kid.
That's bad booking to me.
No, I wouldn't say it was bad booking, but that's just how it was for me and Rocky.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else you never noticed either.
What's that?
After Rocky lost the belt, did you see him anymore?
No, sir.
Nobody noticed.
That's unfortunate, because you guys were 2 incredible talents.
When me and Rocky dropped the title, Rocky Johnson never worked again. That last match was Rocky Johnson's last match.
That's unfortunate.
That's how the business was in them days, kid.
What for you when you look back at your career? What would you say was the highlight for you? What was your favorite matches?
When I wrestled Harley Race.
I found 4 matches so far.
But that with Andre too. Just me and Rocky. Just me and Rocky. Three.
It was
That's right.
It was y'all against Adrian Adonis and Jesse Ventura.
That's when we. Yep. Yeah. See.
It's on
Three.
the 6-man.
See, that's a 6-man. Not me and Rocky.
Y'all against Dr. Noodle and Bob Bradley. And y'all against David Schultz and Greg Valentine.
That was it.
And then y'all said y'all wrestled Bob Smullins before.
No, we only wrestled him one time.
Right, but I didn't name that.
They never got a rematch.
Right.
And they never noticed that.
Well,
Yeah,
now
but that's just how the business. It changed a lot now. Opportunity now than what they did then. But you know, we just was not meant to be there.
sure.
Not at that particular time. We're talking the 80s, the early 80s. You understand that? See, the 80s, what a lot of people don't realize is 10 years after desegregation.
Mm-hmm.
See, America desegregate in the early 70s. So me and Rocky, we was only 10 years into desegregation. You know what that is, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well,
Right.
do you find that during that time period in the 80s, you were still experiencing a lot of racism as an African American in the business?
I wouldn't say it was racism. It was more of the pecking order. You had a certain spot where you could go and then you get cut off.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for African America. It was for females. It was a pecking order.
Sure.
You don't belong in that spot. You belong here, but not here. They had a certain a limitation of how far you could go in the wrestling business with certain people.
And it was mainly due to the way that they only had that one style of guy in the territory, because they'd have 5 or 6 matches.
And there was only room for one minority at the top.
Sure.
So like if you have a Thunderbolt Patterson to be your top black guy, could no other black guy be on top?
Yeah.
Or if you have Bruno Sammartino as your champion, they could not use or push another Italian.
Right. Well, it was the same way with
with Ricky Steamboat. Yeah, when Ricky Steamboat was on top in WCW, another Hawaiian could not come in and become a main eventer. He had to be a jobber, but he could not be a top wrestler.
Yeah.
But they already had the top Hawaiian wrestler.
Well,
It wasn't just for blacks. Yeah, same thing with Polish people. Alvin Puskin was a top Polish wrestler. So if you was Polish, you're gonna be a jobber, no matter how good you was.
Yeah.
Much a team with a guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. At a certain time.
Yeah. So,
it was a peck. Yeah, it wasn't racism. It was just a pecking order.
I gotcha. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned Harley Race, and I think the younger generation really doesn't appreciate or understand what a man's man Harley was and what an incredible worker he was. What are your memories of Harley and working with him?
He's the best I've ever seen. One of the best I've ever seen in the ring. Because Harley could work anybody's style. See, if you work with Ric Flair, you have to adjust to the way Ric Flair wrestled. If you work with Abdullah the Butcher, you have to work the way Abdullah worked. But Harley would work your style.
Right.
Harley was he was not what you call repetitions. He was adjustable. See, most wrestlers got a certain way of working, and they work within that frame. But with Harley Race, he could work in any frame. He could work with a 230-pound guy and have a great match. He could work with a 320-pound guy and have a great match. He knew how to adjust with whoever he worked with. So he could have a great match no matter who it was. He could wrestle a woman and have just a greater match. He can wrestle against Ric Flair. He just had that type of talent. The only other guy I knew that was like that was that I worked with Dory Funk Jr. He was like that too. He could adjust to anybody way of working. He never had no one way of doing things.
Absolutely. No, those two are legends
Like if
for
you
sure.
watch Ric Flair, you watch Ric Flair, a lot of his matches was repetition. A lot of Hogan matches were repetition. They did pretty much the same thing pretty much all the time, But with Harley Race, he never had the same match twice.
Right. Yeah. Ric Flair often gets that label as either you think he's the greatest of all time, or you think that he just did the same things over and over. Like
I think he was one of the biggest draw that this business ever seen. I would say he was a bigger draw than Hulk Hogan because he didn't have the hype and the cable television and all the stuff that Hogan had to help assist him. Flair had to do it on his own. He had no assistance from TV, and he had to make his own way. So I would say, yes, Flair was one of the greatest wrestlers on time. He bigger than Hulk Hogan simply for the fact that he didn't have all the assistance. There was no assistant to put Flair to where he was at.
Sure, and
you got to start thinking about Flair started in the 70s where you only had 3 stations.
Right, absolutely, and
there
also
was only 3. There was no internet, none of that stuff.
No,
Hogan came along. Time it is everything. Hogan came along at the right time when they had cable television, a lot of cable television, HBO. They had talk shows, opportunity to get into movies, and it was just more opportunity for Hogan to become a big star than what Ric Flair or people of that era had. They're like one of the most powerful men I've ever wrestled. Nobody know him that well. They don't even talk about it. And that was Larry the Axe Hennig. Incredible individual. Incredible. But he came along during a time where they didn't have cable TV and wrestling was not a big thing. It was not one of the major sports to watch at that time. So, yeah, time it is everything. It's like a Bruno Sammartino. He was a great wrestler, but how many people talk about Bruno now? He came along during a time where nobody, if you didn't live on the East Coast, you didn't know Bruno. If you live in Virginia, you didn't know who the hell Bruno Sammartino was. Because television was syndicated back then. That's why you could wrestle in one territory back then. It'd be a babyface, go to another territory, be a heel.
Yeah. No,
nobody saw nothing that happened in New York. The only way that people knew what was going on back then was through the magazines.
Right.
That was our main. Yeah, the wrestling magazine was the main promotion for wrestling back then. So if you didn't buy wrestling magazine, you didn't know nothing about wrestling.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned Larry the Axe, and I think a lot of people forget how incredible he was as well. But obviously, from my generation,
or John Leotha Jonathan.
I don't.
That's where I got my finishing move from.
Really?
Yeah, he's a press star. He was incredibly strong. And he was very agile too. He did drop kicks and everything. He was like 6'7". John Leotha Jonathan was his name.
Wow, I'll have to look him up. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, they had a lot of guys like that. Like Peter Maivia, the Rock grandfather. How many people saw Peter Maivia wrestle?
I haven't seen a lot of his matches, but I know his story.
A lot of people talk about Bobo Brazil. How many matches you seen of Bobo Brazil?
Not too many. He used to come in. I'm from Cleveland, so he used to come into the Cleveland territory in the 80s a lot.
So the time was totally different there. And it was hard for a wrestler to get popular like a Elvis Presley or somebody of that name. Because the 3 major sports at that time during the 60s and 70s, was football, baseball, and basketball. And wrestling, they wouldn't even put wrestling in the newspaper unless you got in trouble. The only way a wrestler get any coverage, you got to go get in trouble.
That's unfortunate.
Well, no, that was the time. Nothing was unfortunate because luckily we got the internet. A lot of these guys, I'll remember, they got pictures and stuff on these guys. But if you ever do a wrestling program, every time I talk to somebody, they always start with the 80s.
Yeah.
They never talked past 1980. It was like there was no professional wrestler in America before 1980. There was no wrestling in America. If you listen to commentators,
Yeah,
they
well,
always start in the late 80s. They start with the Hulk Hogan era. So anything that happened before Hulk Hogan don't get talked about. That's when everybody talked to me. Every interview I ever talked on, they start in the late 80s and early 90s. So you wasn't around in the early 90s, you're gonna be forgotten about.
right.
If you wrestle in the 70s and 80s, nobody talks about you. You had to be in the 90s to be talked about. Because people don't know that there was wrestling before 1990. They don't know that. Because nobody ever talk about it.
Right. Well, I mean, I would imagine that's because of how the things changed with the rock and wrestling boom in 1985. And,
What ended up happening when Vince McMahon took over, he tried to bury everything that happened before him in order to develop his new talent.
Sure.
Yeah, he tried to bury everything that happened, like with everybody that was created by his father, like Captain Lou Albano. You notice when Albano left the WWF, they never mentioned his name again, like it was never there.
Right.
When Bruno left, they never talked about Bruno on there, about nothing. Even now you never hear Bruno Sammartino name mentioned. You don't hear Superstar Billy Graham name mentioned. You don't hear Bob Orton Sr. name mentioned. You don't hear about Larry the Axe Henry, Ox Baker. You don't hear none of these guys' name mentioned.
Right. Well, do you think that's
it
why
was like they never was here on Earth?
When Vince brought you back in 1990, do you think he changed your name because you weren't a creation of Vince McMahon? Tony Atlas wasn't your creation. Is that why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They try to bury everything that was before them.
What did you think about your run in 2008 with Mark Henry? Were you a fan of
Horrible.
that? Didn't like it.
Horrible. What? Well, would you like being humiliated on TV every day?
No, I would not enjoy that.
Okay, all right. You watch the matches and then you watch me with Mark Henry, and then you tell me how would you like that every week? Hey, but I got a paycheck. That's what I kept looking at. I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid to be abused. I've been abused for free. So he paid me to abuse me. So I don't have too many complaints.
When they
yeah, and in fact, I used to pay women to abuse me. So
I've heard things about that on the internet.
Right? Yeah, about me having sex with baboons.
I didn't hear about that.
You didn't see me with that baboon?
No.
Oh, I love to monkey around, brother.
Okay. All right. I mean, I know.
But I repent. I don't do that no more.
Well, I do know of the legend
of parakeets now.
Okay. I know.
I have a pecking good time.
You are ridiculous, sir.
You gotta be.
That's the only way you survive in this business.
Hey, don't knock it until you try it.
I hear you. Well, listen. If I were to say have a foot fetish or a shoe fetish, is there a particular shoe or foot that I should aim for? Big foot, little foot? What am I looking at here?
Well, it depends on what you like. Everybody's different.
Sure.
There's like Stinsky, he likes sucking toes, see? Everybody likes sucking on something. What you like sucking? We all like to suck something.
It depends on the time of day, Tony.
Oh yeah, well, you just unfortunate that you didn't know Patterson. He would have broke you into sucking.
Oh boy, this is going down a weird path.
Well, you want to talk to a wrestler, did you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, listen.
You didn't think you were calling a banker when you called me up.
No, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah, just grease up there, son.
Well, Tony, where does the foot fetish come from? Like, where does that start for you? How do you find out? Like, I'm just into feet.
Brother, but all the way they are. Nobody knows why. It's a year to find out why. And 10 years, $10,000 later, they still don't know why they're so freaking weird. Everybody's just different. That what make the world up.
Sure.
We're all different. Think about this. Then I got to go because we're at the mall. Think about this. Since the beginning of time, there's never been anybody born with the same fingerprint or DNA. Since the beginning of time.
True.
That's how come law enforcement is able to catch you by your DNA because nobody got the same DNA. That's why they can catch you by your fingerprint because nobody got the same fingerprint. When that boils down to, you're not going to find two people with the same likes or the same personality. I may like fried chicken. You may like it with barbecue sauce. Another guy like it with salt and pepper. Another guy like it with salt and vinegar. But it's different as are. And that's why in the Bible says, judge not, yet ye be judged.
Very true. You make a great point, Tony. Not everyone has the same thing.
Brother, they got me at this mall. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for talking with me, Tony. I appreciate your time.
Have a good one. Happy 4th, brother.
Happy 4th.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Later.
All right.
Well, that was an interview with Tony Atlas. There are countless other interviews on the internet with Tony Atlas, which aren't that bad. But I don't know what to really say about this one.
This was like an interview with Saba Simba. Because a lot of times I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Mm.
It was like he was speaking in a different language or not speaking at all. Or speaking to someone who may not have even been you.
Yeah, he was talking to a guy in the back seat of his car.
Bob Orton?
No.
Oh.
Bob Orton was in the front seat and did not talk once.
Hey, I want to know, Bob Orton drives?
He wasn't driving.
Oh, who was driving? Tony Atlas?
No, Moose, the guy who...
How many front
booked
seats
him.
were there?
Tony Atlas was in the back seat.
What? Okay.
What'd you think of this interview, Aaron? Give me your thoughts.
Man, this shit was bad. It was very difficult to listen to. I wanted to come up with something witty and everything. It just fucking sucked. And I'm glad that it did because there are countless interviews that you can go online and find from Tony Atlas where it seems like it's a good interview. Mm-hmm. But if you tune into ours, you're going to find the exact opposite, and that's nice. I like the way you commanded that interview.
I tried.
I know
there
you
were
did.
so many times when I tried
you
to
were
ask
just
questions.
asking a straight up question, and then he'd just be in a different conversation. So, yeah, we're gonna make a left up here.
Yeah. First question about Saba Simba. Did you like that character? His response: yeah, I like that character.
That was Vince's way of getting at me.
No, but he didn't say that right away.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He came in with that.
But like that was the end. So I'm sitting there like, okay, like what is this gonna be? Yes, no. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand, man. Like, come on. So I asked that. I tried to ask a really deep question with the one about Peacock and them editing past content.
Right.
I tried to ask him, do you think that not only on Peacock, but any old broadcast in general, whether it be television or movies, do you think people should go back and retroactively edit out racist segments, or do you think they should be left in to be a teachable moment? And this guy just goes, well, this is the first I heard of it, so how can I speak on it?
You just threw this question at me.
Just fucking, who cares? Okay, but now you know. I explained to you the situation, and it didn't really require much explanation. I mean, it's
you know what it required? Somebody to actually be paying attention to the question that you asked, and he couldn't do that.
Yeah, that seemed to be part of the problem.
Yeah.
I think one of the parts that got me the most angry was towards the end when I at least wanted to get a good go home. And we got on the subject of him and his fetish with women and boots.
Uh-huh.
And he makes a comment at the end of this interview, and he says something to the effect of, that's the good thing about people. Everybody got a different fingerprint, or something like that. And I tried to say, well, yes, everybody does have a different, unique fingerprint, and you've left not only fingerprints all over professional wrestling, but you've left your footprints all over professional wrestling, and I'm sure you've had many footprints left on you from the ladies that you shall never forget. And I want to thank you for your time, Tony Atlas. But he's just like, bye, buddy, bye, bye. And he just got out of the car, and that was it. That was the end of the interview.
And he got dropped off at his day program.
He was doing an autograph signing.
Oh.
But, yeah, that interview was rough. And that was the worst interview the show has ever had.
God, yeah, even worse than... okay, never mind.
Was there any insightful content in that interview to you? Did you learn anything?
It was hard for me to enjoy any of it.
He seemed really angry. Like, even at one point, I asked him, what do you remember about that night winning the tag team titles? Becoming the very first African-American tag team champions in WWF history. Pretty monumental moment. He's like, I don't have any good memories from that night. How many times did me and Rocky Johnson tag after that? And he claimed...
Only twice after that? Yeah.
But it's not true. I went to Cage Match, and they tagged dozens and dozens and dozens of times over the next year before they lost the belts. Now, there isn't a lot of that footage on YouTube, but it happened. It was like, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking? How did you feel about your time in ECW, Tony? How would you feel if you were getting made fun of on TV? I didn't feel like he was getting made fun of on TV. I thought they actually put him in like a pretty good role with Mark Henry, who they were pushing pretty heavily on the ECW brand.
And he got something totally different than anyone else had. He got to be in like a suit without the sleeves on it.
Right.
So like he had something that you were like, all right, I got to check this guy out because he's ridiculous. He's wearing a suit, but he ripped off the sleeves.
Yeah.
Dude, man.
I at least got in your...
I'm sorry.
I got in your thing about Piper from the Saba Simba debut. That's Tony Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was just like, okay.
Yeah, just nothing. No comment about that at all.
Well, I didn't listen to commentary back then.
Okay.
I never watched my show.
Well. So we do apologize for that interview. I hope there was something that you got out of it.
I don't know, seriously. I mean, I think we got something special out of it.
Do you?
It was a shitty interview. Yeah, not all of them are home runs.
That's true.
You know what I mean? This one was a pop-out to first.
Now,
and we experienced not a win, not a grand slam at the end of the game, but we experienced the agony of defeat.
Okay. Well, so the reason why this interview even happened, because first of all, when I met him, I was like, all right, this guy is a fucking dick. Straight up.
Yeah.
But by the end, he won me over, and I said to myself, you know what? I got no problem asking him to do an interview. So he said, maybe we could do something tomorrow. And his manager, Moose, was like, yeah, we could definitely do something via Zoom while we're going to the autograph signing. So it's important for me to talk about the experience with Tony Atlas and our time at Appalachian Championship Wrestling, which I do look forward to returning to soon. And so to help me with that, I'm going to get your friend and mine on the phone, 440's own, the Bev, Bobby Beverly. Give me 1 second. Okay, Bobby Beverly, are you there?
I am here. What's good, my man?
Yo, the Bev. Say hi to Aaron.
Oh, snap.
What's up, Aaron?
Bobby, it's been a while.
For sure. How's everything going for you, man? Everything good?
Horrible. Thanks for bringing it up.
Well, first of all, before we talk about this experience with Tony Atlas, how are you feeling after your weekend of wrestling for, what was it, just No Holds Barred this weekend for you?
Yeah, they had a pit fighter and then a regular No Holds Barred. So
I didn't see all of your matches, but I did see your one with Vincent Nothing. But before we talk about that, Aaron has no idea what we're talking about, so maybe you can describe to him what No Holds Barred and pit fighter is.
Okay, so No Holds Barred is ICW. It's essentially deathmatch wrestling for the most part. The ropes are replaced with chains. They throw some tires over the ring post, and they just kind of fill it up with weapons, which is basically a death match. And then pit fighter is actually inside a cage with nothing on the ground, so it's just you're just hitting the ground, and then they just kind of put the weapons inside the cage. So it's just you got to kind of think a little outside the box, I guess, but it's still pretty similar. I mean, because you don't have ropes either way. So just, I guess, the pit fighter is a more contained environment. But yeah, pretty much just a lot of deathmatch, hard-hitting stuff is what it is.
Well, Bobby, I always tell people that I'm very proud to have managed you in the past, and I'm sure as shit happy to not be managing you now. I couldn't do anything with no pit, no floor at the bottom.
It's
what are you, fighting to the death?
It's definitely a unique environment. But so, like, how are you feeling after all that?
I like shit.
Oh, so it was that bad, huh?
Vince and Nothing beat my ass, you know.
He really did. He really did. But you know what? You held your own.
Yeah, funny about that, in the beginning, if you actually watch, you can see Vince get a big smile. I look at him and I go, this isn't 10 years ago, bro. As hard as I could.
I love that because, you know, I think we've talked about in the show, when we were young, we were all really scared of Vince. And I'm still mildly afraid of him, but, like, I was much more afraid of him when I was young. And you were the same way, Bob.
Yeah, for sure. I even told him after the match because it's kind of weird because it's almost like the tables were turned. I'm with 440 with you guys. Have been trying to build myself up on the deathmatch scene. It's been going really well, and Vince is kind of getting back into it. But in the past, I was telling him he was always one of the big dogs. We were the young guys trying to make our way, and he was already out there. So. Yeah. So it was I guess, to the fan nowadays, maybe that wasn't the thought, but to me that was still the thought. I was wanting to prove something to myself because I know I couldn't go toe-to-toe, 10 years ago with him, and I wanted to be able to show that I could do that, and try to earn his respect. So I was happy with it. That went really well.
Hell yeah, man. But, someone whose respect you wanted to earn last Thursday would be that of Tony Atlas, which was a ridiculous experience. So I figured the best way to tell this story is to have you involved. So I guess walk the audience and Aaron through our experience before planning our match with the two young men that we were wrestling at Appalachian Championship Wrestling and what that experience was like with one Mr. USA.
Well, I think you got to go to the beginning first. We were supposed to go and do a show outdoors in West Virginia, and then it rained. So we still went to the original place, but we just did a meet and greet indoors. And at the meet and greet, I was like, "Oh, this is going pretty good." Tony Atlas is singing. I don't know if you noticed at one moment he's just singing as loud as possible. It was really fucking annoying. But he seemed like he was in a really good mood. I'm like, "Oh, cool." Seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And then because the show got kind of canceled, we went to I guess the promoter, the owner's studio, which was at his house.
Cool. The parking lot, it was in the parking lot of Hooters, or not Hooters, BW3's, and it got rained out. Yeah. So.
Yes, yeah, BW3. So we go to his house where he has a studio, which it was very nice, a nice little setup. I liked how he did things, but just the I guess what to me, just thinking about it, even now, just I can't fathom. We were sitting outside his garage. Mm-hmm. On a bench. Well, some of us were on a bench.
Yeah.
An old rocking chair bench while him and Bob Orton are sitting in lounge chairs. Just casually talking, I guess, before our match. It was wild. We were gonna I think me and you both, we talked about on the way up, we had some ideas. We want to give these kids a good match, give these guys their money's worth, and have a good time. And, Tony Atlas kind of really ruined that.
So we were in the car. We were we had a couple spots planned or whatever that we were thinking about. And then we were told as we were planning the match with these kids that we needed to go talk over the match in front of Bob Orton and Tony Atlas because they were going to have a spot. They were going to have a spot in the match.
Yes.
And so, Bobby, walk us through how that plays out once we go outside to discuss things with Tony Atlas and Bob Orton, which ends up being mostly Tony Atlas talking.
Yes, yeah. So we kind of break down what we kind of had like an idea for the match, kind of how to get them involved. I'm pretty sure that's what we like started with. So we kind of talked it through because at the end, Bob Orton was going to do this turn with us. So we set all this up, and then Tony just kind of like just out of nowhere, he's like, "So what am I doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I mean, y'all been talking about Bob and what Bob's doing, but the way I hear it, I ain't doing nothing. So I'm sitting there. I'm just going to sit there." I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, what's he talking about? We were like, we're going to come out and talk shit on you, piss you off, and then these young kids will come out in your defense. So then at the end, when we're trying to get over on these hometown kids, shittily, you and Bob, being the legend baby faces, can come up and help us. But apparently in that, he did, it was just lost that he had nothing to do with the match. I just think he didn't want to do anything, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, so he just said, I got nothing to do. At one point, I think I told him, like, well, maybe, like, give me some shots to the back, right, and he actually shot that down, absolutely. He's like, "Oh, no. You won't sell for me. You won't sell for me. You don't know how to sell." I was like, "Oh, here we go." Yep.
It was getting real annoying, and I think at first, Bobby, we were doing pretty well maintaining our composure, but I didn't look at you at all because I'm trying to look at Tony while this is all going down. But I know at one point you could just read pissed off and annoyed all over my face. So what was your face looking like?
I was heated, man. I was like, if he wasn't a giant man, I might have tried to fight him. He was really like, cutting us down, and he has no idea who we are,
Well, so how did he start with cutting us down? What was one of the first lines he said? Because what it becomes is it stops being about his spot in the match, which he shot down, but then it now becomes a lecture.
Yeah, a lecture, just a straight lecture. I think the first thing I distinctly remember, he talked a lot, so I don't remember everything he said, because he just rambled. But the main thing I remember first was he kept telling all of us, looking at us, he would ask us questions without giving us, like, answers, like, just keep questioning us before he gives us the answer, like 5 minutes later or whatever. But I remember him looking at us and saying, "Why does the fans know that wrestling's fake?"
Yeah.
And he just kept asking us, and we're all just like, I'm just thinking, well, it's just the evolution of wrestling. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, he proceeds to tell us. Actually, I think he looked right at me, which really pissed me off. Straight at me and goes, "It's because they watched your match."
Yeah, he literally, like, I want to say it verbatim. He's because you sent me the text the next day, and he said, y'all know why they say wrestling's fake? Because they watch your match. And he's looking right at you, Bobby. And like when he said that, I was like,
never watched any of our matches.
I know. He just kept saying, "Y'all kids always think about the next spot." But they think wrestling's fake. Back in my day, they never asked if wrestling was fake. Now they don't ask you guys if wrestling's fake. You know why? Because they saw your match. And I was like, okay, what the fuck is happening, right? He looked right at me pretty soon after that. And he goes, "Do you even know how to put on a headlock?" And I said, "Yeah, I can put on a headlock." He's like, "You don't know how to put on a headlock." And then he just kept talking.
And then I feel like you just shook your head like in disgust.
Yeah.
But it was like almost looked like you shook your head no. So I think he thought in his head, like, "Yeah, you don't know how to put on a headlock." Like, you would tell him no. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness."
Yeah, he was hearing what he wanted to hear out of that. At one point, I'm pretty sure he said something that, like, he kept making comparisons in life to that of the ring. And at one point, I'm not even sure how this made sense, but he just started saying, "It's like if you want to have sex with a girl and you're in your house and she's in a house across the street. You could think about having sex with that girl. You could fantasize about it, but you ain't having sex with her." And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? What are you talking about? It was insane.
Yeah, you guys just don't understand.
Oh, we don't understand.
Yeah, that's how we used to talk back in my day.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
I gave that same speech to Eric and Bobby when I took over their careers.
Oh yeah, is that what you said? Yeah, the exact.
And then I was like, you know what you guys should come out to? Love in an elevator.
Okay,
because that represents you guys.
That was not your idea.
Nope, not at all.
Nope. So so we wanted to get on the road early, And Tony Atlas then proceeded to talk for 30 minutes before this match. And
at the point where like the promoters are coming out and apologizing to us,
Yeah.
and, like we're really sorry, like this is it was awful.
Yeah.
At one point, he even I think he I don't know how he got into this, but by the end of it, he started talking about how great a president Donald Trump is.
Oh yeah, he did. I forgot about
What?
that. Yeah, he kept giving like dumb examples that made no sense. He's like, and he started to say something about wrestling, and he said that's why everyone thought Donald Trump was such a great leader. And as soon as he said that, I was definitely tuned out because I'm like, this is unbelievable right now.
He's like the people believe in him.
Yeah.
He's like, they didn't believe in Obama. They believe in Trump. I'm like, he lost. He lost the election. What do you mean they believed in him?
I think they stopped believing.
At least 8% don't believe in him. You know, I don't know.
And also,
hold on.
Go ahead,
Bobby. You had a specific number.
I don't know.
No, tell me the number you said. Tell me the number you said. Don't back off now.
58%, I think, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
It was a close race, right?
I just think it's fantastic that I'm having a presidential discussion with Bobby Beverly on percentages of approval rates. The Bev, me and Ed, what Joe Dombrowski used to always try to get me to call you something on commentary when you switched from being Bobby Beverly to just the Bev, and you were the guy that was like the salt of the earth or something. I was supposed to say.
Yes,
And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Because I didn't know back then. I had never even heard that expression before. He goes, he's the Bev.
I'm just the Bev, yeah. But I wanted to really just be the Bev because I am the Bev. Joe had to put a gimmick behind it.
Well, you know that salt of the earth nickname will never catch on for anybody. I'll tell you that right now.
This is true.
Yeah. But so we end up doing this match, and but before we do the match, as soon as we have this conversation with Tony Atlas, Bobby, I don't even think we said anything to each other, but because of the way he talked to us, everything we said in the car, any spot we had planned, went out the fucking window.
Out the fucking window, exactly. I walked to the back, I looked at the kid, I go, all right, buddy, what do you want to do? Short tackle, tag me out, cool, Greg, you're in.
Yep.
Here we go, hot tag, 2 bumps, get me up, we're going home.
Yeah. Well, not because like we don't want to give you guys the impression that we were trying to phone it in, but like what we had a point to prove to Tony Atlas now. And like Bob Orton seemed really cool, but Tony was being a fucking dick to where we were like, you know what? You don't want to see any spots? We're just gonna fucking wrestle, and hopefully you like that. And so we end up going to the ring, but we have to interact with Tony and Bob Orton first and interrupt them.
Yes.
And so I get right in their faces and I say, tonight, you don't have to introduce yourself to us. Who are you? Randy Orton's dad? And then I looked at Tony Atlas and I said, and who are you? What's your name? I can't remember. Saba Simba? And then he wasn't supposed to, but then Tony Atlas grabbed the mic and started cutting a promo on me.
Yes.
And I kept talking back and forth, and the 2 kids we had to wrestle came out and they challenged us to a match. But I'm thinking to myself now in the moment, okay, motherfucker. Well, remember how earlier you said you didn't have a reason to get up on the apron with Bob Orton?
Now we had some heat there now, right?
Right, like now you could get up on the fucking apron. But and I'm not going to spoil the whole thing because, I mean, I did post a picture that Bob Orton joined 440, but this taping will actually be airing, I believe, if not today, as this airs next Wednesday on the Appalachian Championship Wrestling YouTube and on their Facebook. But basically, when Bob gets up on the apron, Tony just sits there and actually looked borderline sleepy as I was watching from the ring. And so everything goes down, and then after the match, Tony Atlas walks up to what I thought was me and Bobby, and he goes, I want to talk to you outside. And so I'm thinking, okay, like, what do you want to say? And then Bobby's walking with me. He goes, no, just you, and looks right at me. And I was like, oh, fuck, here we go.
I'm even like more pissed. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's going to talk some shit to me after he talks to you. Like, he's going to praise you for something. I'm going to be fighting Tony Atlas, you know?
Well, I thought for sure he was going to say to me, why you calling me Saba Simba or something.
Yeah.
And so he pulls me outside. He goes, let me tell you something. You are fucking amazing. And I was like, and my mind was blown because I'm like, wait, what's happening right now? Because I wanted to murder him if he wasn't so gigantic. But I was definitely contemplating beating up Tony Atlas just moments ago. And now he's like, you're amazing. He's like, and I said, oh. And he said, I noticed your arm. I noticed everything. And I was like, oh, okay.
This hard to notice arm.
That's great. I'm glad he noticed that.
Yeah. And so then he said, put up your fists. And I said, okay. So I put up both and I try to make a fist with my right hand because I can't do it on command. He said, no, don't make a fist with it. And I was like, okay. And then he said, now put your other one to the side, being my good arm. So he has me put my left arm down. He's like, you always look like that at all times. So I'm thinking to myself, what? Keep my right hand up and my good hand down in a wrestling match?
So
that doesn't make any
sense.
I understand that, but but in terms of a match,
no. If you're trying to have a real, if you're trying to, he was talking earlier that your guys' ship made you look fake.
Yeah.
So what he's doing then is telling you to look fake.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
And then he said, how do you throw an elbow with that right arm? And I said, well, I don't. And then I picked it up and I tried to throw like a bionic elbow looking thing. And he goes, no, you throw it like this. And he turns my arm to where it's like sticking out to the side, right? And he said, now throw an elbow. And I threw it to the side. He's like, there you go. And I'm thinking like, there's no strength. It looks like shit. Why would I do this? And then he started rambling about how I should tape up my hand and make it a gimmick. And I'm thinking, it's already a gimmick.
He was looking at Bob Orton.
Yeah, and then Bob Orton chimed in. He's like, yeah, kid, you should make it a gimmick. Tape it up. And I'm like, okay. And then
Bob Orton was passing you down the gimmick, the move that he did.
Well, I'm okay with that. But look, at this point, Tony's winning me over. He's being nice, but nothing he says make any sense. And actually, he's making me look faker than I am already. But Bobby, from your point of view, once the kindness of Tony Atlas started coming out, how did you take the whole conversation at that point?
So I initially wasn't sure what he was really talking to you about, because he pulled you aside. So I tried to sneak over there just to make sure I wasn't going to get it out of control, where he wasn't still sitting there talking a bunch of shit. So then I kind of snuck over. I was even like, hey, so how was it? And he's like, oh, it was great. His two things that he loved that I did was I pinned my opponent.
Yep.
And I used a rest hold.
Uh-huh.
Those were his two feedbacks for me. That was all he had. Everything was great. I pinned my opponent and I used a rest hold.
Very impressive, Bobby.
You pinned your opponent. Oh my god.
Very impressive. They must have taught that kid that in wrestling school. Pin his opponent.
That's right.
Did you hook the leg or did you get a half Nelson?
I was so pissed. What's that? Go ahead.
I said, did you hook the leg or did you get a half Nelson in for the pinfall?
I definitely hooked the leg.
Good job.
Yeah, gotta hook the leg.
Taught him well.
I hooked both legs deep.
There you go.
I feel bad because they were nice kids. They did a fine job, the kids we worked, but I really beat the shit out of that kid, because I was out to prove to Tony Atlas, he's talking about selling punches, and he's going to sell these punches, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Bobby, did you always look up to Tony Atlas?
For sure. One of my favorites of all time.
And then how did you feel about women in high heels stepping on your face? Is that something you're into? Because it seems like it would be, because you're the Bev.
I mean, I'm not opposed to trying it,
Of course you're not.
And in true Tony Atlas fashion, as we were done talking, he's like, okay, yeah, we're going to get out of here. They were falling asleep in the chair. And then they're like, all right, we got to go. We're going to go. And Tony Atlas just looks at me and he goes, yeah, I'm going to go jerk off in the hotel.
That's what he said. Yeah. So,
I look at him, I go, well, you ever jerked off driving your car?
Wait, what?
On a late-night road trip? And he's like, man, you're wild. You're jerking off in your hotel. I thought we were having a Bev Tony conversation.
Yeah. Aaron, why are you confused by jerking off in the car? That's how Brian Kendrick got the nickname Spanky. You know that, right?
No, I didn't.
Is
that true?
Yeah, he had he drove, I think, overnight from somewhere on the East Coast all the way to California or vice versa.
Yeah.
And the only way he could stay up by himself was to whack it. So that's how I got the name Spanky.
It works.
So fun.
100%.
See?
Y'all crazy.
Bobby, how many times have you spanked it on a road trip to try to stay awake?
I mean, nothing crazy. A handful of times.
A handful.
A handful.
But a boom. All right.
Always by myself.
But
so glad we don't ride together anymore.
Yeah. But so all in all, I think I can speak for both of us, Bobby, that we had a great experience at Appalachian Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, it was great. Those guys really took care of us. Yeah, it was.
It was good stuff, and I'm glad that I got the interview with Tony. But it's not the best interview, and I'm glad that he at least. No, it's not good, and I'm at least happy that he's an okay guy.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, maybe we could get an episode that's under an hour today.
Maybe but we have some more content to cover because we got a lot of comments from people on Facebook and Twitter that wanted us to answer some patriotic questions of theirs. So I think that's what we're going to do at this time. But Bobby, hey, thanks for taking the time to call in and talk about this Mr. USA experience. And I miss your smile, I miss your touch, and I miss your taste.
Hey, no problem, Aaron. It's good talking to you. Hopefully I'll see you soon. And Greg, I'll see you soon, buddy.
Yeah, I think I'll see you this weekend.
Yep, a few days.
Yeah, we'll be at Paradigm, and we'll be at No Peace Underground in Indiana, so it'll be a good time.
Yep, for sure.
All right, man. I'll talk to you this weekend.
All right, fellas. Later.
Bobby, I'll miss you, and I love you.
Love you.
Bye. Oh, that was nice talking to the Bev for a little bit.
I always forget how much I miss the Bev, and then I talk to him, and I'm like, why have I not spoke to this guy in months or a year or whatever?
He's great. Being on the road trips with him would have been awesome, actually.
That's got to be like an upgrade for you. Being able to be on the road with the Bev. You know what I mean? Sometimes you were driving the shows by yourself, but from what I understood, you picked up Bobby on the way to the show this past weekend.
Sure did.
Yeah, that's got to be a nice ride.
Listen, I love Bobby, and I think back in the day, some of my earlier matches that were my best were with Bobby Beverly. We just had good chemistry, and he was hard-hitting. He's still hard-hitting. And
hard thrusting, too.
Hard thrusting, yes. He's definitely the master of the thrust. He trusts in the thrust. Yeah. And, but yeah, thanks, Bobby, for calling in. But before we move on from this Tony Atlas thing, I just want to point out, again, he turns out to be a great guy. But, you have heard stories in the past where he's kind of a dick to younger wrestlers. There's a story with CM Punk in particular where he had a conflict with him years ago at OVW over him having tape fists, and Punk tried to explain that that's part of his gimmick. He's like, how are you ever going to do a tape fist match? You're killing the tape fist match. And, like, at this point, it's like 2007 or something. So it's like, Tony, fucking tape fist match aren't really a thing anymore.
Yeah, really.
But I think what I learned from this experience, and hopefully, maybe someone can pull Tony aside, but I feel like you're like my dad, once you get to a certain age, you're just stuck in your ways. If you want to give someone criticism and you want them to listen, maybe, and I could be wrong here, but perhaps maybe you don't insult them while giving the criticism if you want them to take your advice.
Yeah.
Am I right here?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, those old days of the hard-nosed coach who inspires you by being mean to you, those days are over.
Long gone.
Yeah. That shit, Bobby Knight. I don't know if you know who Bobby Knight is. He was Indiana's second favorite Bobby.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so he was the coach for the college team there. And he was just, like, punching his students, his players on his basketball team.
He punched them?
Yeah, picked up folding chairs, threw them across the hardwood floor of the basketball arenas and stuff like that.
Wow.
This man was insane, and he got away with it forever because they were like, gotta discipline them kids somehow. Kid ain't gonna learn how to dribble basketball if you don't punch him in the nose.
Oh, my God. Awful. Before we go to our patriotic questions, promised earlier a cameo from one made in the USA, Lex Luger.
The American original.
Yes, and as I mentioned, Ryan Krause-Dalahala on Patreon paid for me to be a part of a virtual meet and greet. I got to ask Lex a question while he signed an 8x10 for me, and I very much appreciate that opportunity. I can't thank Ryan enough for that. Without further ado, I'm going to play for you my interaction for the first time since 1995 when I met him originally, my interaction with Made in the USA, the total package, Lex Luger.
I got Gregory next. How's it going?
Gregory, where are you coming in from, man?
Hey, Lex. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Whoa, man, you're bright, man. Like my book, we're coming on. We're coming on.
Yeah, they were close.
We almost had the Battle of the Great Lakes, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. It's fun to be in the mix again, isn't it?
For sure. It's been too long.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a pleasure to meet you again. I actually met you a long time ago, back in 1995. I met you. You did an autograph signing at a Subway restaurant in Cleveland, and you were the first wrestler I ever met.
Oh, wow. At a Subway.
At a Subway restaurant. It was August.
I remember that.
Yeah. You were the guy from the
WCW sent me over to Subway, and I was like kind of indignant. I go, "You're sending me over to a Subway?" I was like happy.
Yeah, you were actually still with the WWF at the time.
Yeah, I was kind of snobby. I was like, "You're sending Lex Luger to a Subway?"
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
You gave me free tickets to the WWF show, and I don't know, it always stuck out in my mind. And actually, a friend of mine bought this for me so I could talk to you again, because now you sort of inspired me, among a couple other guys, to be a professional wrestler. And for 15 years, I've been wrestling all over the country, parts of Canada, and I've worked with, guys that you've worked with, like Steve Austin and Vader. And I actually did an autograph signing with you in Rhode Island a couple years ago, but I was too shy to come up and talk to you to share this story. So I get the opportunity to do that now.
I like the T-shirt. Man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to talk with you.
Anything on there besides my name, Gregory?
Just to Greg is fine.
Okay. Got any wrestling questions for me, anything, Greg?
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite moments involving you that I look fondly back on is the 1994 Royal Rumble with the double finish with you and Brett. And it was so well done. And I often wondered, did you guys have to practice that earlier in the day? How much of that was talked about or planned out in advance?
We went in the ring that day, and I think it was in Providence, Rhode Island. And we were in the ring with Vince, just Vince and Brett and I. We talked over, okay, we kind of want you guys to kind of each put somebody out, kind of almost bump into each other and look at each other and then go at it. We don't want a big delay. We want to keep it going. And Vince goes, I'd like to have you guys both go out together and try to hit the floor at the same time. And we're like, man, I don't know if we can promise that, And so we did a walkthrough where Brett would cross body, we would go up to the rope, and Brett would so we did do kind of a walkthrough, not full speed of it, but Brett is such a incredible technician, such a pro. Brett clung to me he had such a hold on me that we literally hit the floor wrapped together, like mummified.
Yeah.
Brett, all I had to do was trust Brett going over backwards, which was a little unnerving for me. But Brett took care of me. He tucked my head and he wrapped us together and we hit the floor. I mean, Vince was so excited. We came back because he said, you won't believe it. Even the slow-mo, he said, you guys, you can't tell who hit first. It was
perfect.
And that was really almost like a miracle. Time for that to happen. So I give Brett 99.9% of the credit on that one.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I really love that Royal Rumble, and I loved your WWF run and everything you did. And just I want to thank you for being such an inspiration and everything you've overcome over the years. You're the man. Thank you.
Gregory, thanks for coming on tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Next year, AFC Championship, us and the Bill. You guys know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Apparently,
thank you.
Iron is a big wrestler in his own right. People are popping right now, too, for him as well.
Yeah.
Take care, Greg.
Good seeing you, Lex. Take care.
Talking with you.
Later.
Take care.
Well, there you have it. My short interaction with the total package, Lex Luger. Aaron, what did you think?
Dude, man, I loved it. I love Luger. He told some great stories.
Yeah.
He remembered basically everything about, going to Cleveland and doing an autograph signing in a Subway. And I like that he interacted with you as well as he did.
Yeah, and it was a great conversation. And, I really enjoyed just talking about the old pigskin, Just,
that was another thing I noticed. Wait, Greg's not even a football fan. How's he? You were working.
Not very well,
working.
Though.
No. You had
the video will be up on Patreon. Obviously, you just heard the audio, but you could see it on my face when he goes, "Oh, my Buffalo Bills, they beat your Cleveland Browns, but you guys were close." I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh, I love the game of football.
Yeah. Yeah, I love foosball. It's great. And then he brought it up towards the end again. He's like, oh, maybe AFC Championship, your Browns and Bills next year. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait.
Well, I think that's kind of the general consensus.
Oh, is it?
Unless people like the Chiefs.
I did watch the Dark Side of Football Cleveland Browns episode. Did you watch that?
Oh, no. There's one up?
Yeah. It came out a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But what's the only Dark Side of Football episode I've watched, obviously. I feel like it wasn't really dark. It was just sad. So, I don't know. I like documentaries. And
Sad Side of Football?
Yeah, it wasn't dark. Like, in Dark Side of the Ring, it's like drugs and
somebody
alcohol.
Murdered somebody and they were high on cocaine.
Yeah, and this one was just like, the Browns were terrible. And then they almost won, and then they didn't, and then they almost won again, and then they didn't, and then Art Modell took the team to Baltimore, and then they got the team back in '99, and then the first game they lost, and then they kept losing, and they've changed quarterbacks like 20 times in 20 years, and they have a decent team this last year.
All right, quit talking about my Browns.
Anyways. I thank Lex Luger for that opportunity to speak with him, and that opportunity doesn't happen if it's not for Ryan Cross Dallahala.
What did you feel about the video with the song? Was it "You Were My Hero"?
Yeah.
For Luger?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel about that video, though?
I liked it.
And the song?
I love it.
Yeah, but it's not an entrance theme, right?
No.
Yeah. Man, I like that song, though, and I bought whatever. It was on some WWF cassette tape. And I bought that tape just so I could get that song. I get pumped to that, man. I go lift some weights and shit.
It's a great song, but it's no Tell Me a Lie.
Nah, Tell Me a Lie was, past my prime for wrestling.
It was like a year and a half later.
Well, my prime was a year and a half earlier. What the fuck do you want?
All right, well.
How long are you in your prime?
Anyways, let's now segue into talking about the questions that we had on social media for this time of year. Very patriotic questions that you submitted over on Facebook and Twitter. So we're going to address those right now. And most of them are going to be exclusively to patreon.com/ironandwrestling, where you will be getting an extended episode of this, like we do most weeks. And, of course, early. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, you could have been listening to it on Tuesday on Patreon. A buttload of bonus content starting at $3. We have over 70 Patreon subscribers right now. And by over 70, I mean 71. You could be one of those people. $3 gets you in on the bonus content. You get all of the audio episodes. You get some of the video. And, of course, I should mention that if you want to see the video of this Tony Atlas interview, you're only going to see it on patreon.com/irononwrestling, because if you thought it was awkward to listen to, it's even more awkward to watch, and you can see how angry
Yeah, because I watched it, and
it's pretty bad. $3 gets you in on the bonus content. Of course, you get a follow back on social media once you sign up for patreon.com/irononwrestling by myself and by Aaron. $5 gets you in on the Zoom call, which we do once a month, which is coming up sometime here in the next couple of weeks. We'll make that announcement very shortly. $9 gets you all the stuff I just listed, and of course you get full-length bonus episodes, you get full-length video episodes, and of course you get to pick a bonus subject once a month, and that is the coveted tier over on the Patreon. It's the tier that people enjoy the most. $9 tier, $20 tier, you get you something in the mail every other month. We have something going out in August, so if you sign up in July, you'll be in on the ground room floor before we get to August, and you'll get something in the mail from us here at the show. There's a bunch of other tiers in which you can sign up for, where you can be involved with the show either via Zoom with your podcast subject, or you can be in studio. Check it out, patreon.com/ironandwrestling. But right now, let's get to these patriotic questions. Aaron, are you ready?
I believe I am.
All right, our first patriotic question. No, we're not doing this.
Pew, 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 pew. No, it's not Ricochet. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tiger Driver Trivia Patriotic Edition. Greg, for 1 star.
God damn it.
Which is usually what most of your matches get. like to ask you. Yesterday, July 4th.
Okay, it's not yesterday as we're recording this, but continue.
People understand. They know our show by now. It was Independence Day. And what that means, there's an annual tradition. The biggest tradition of...
Shoot off fireworks.
Nope. Sorry, Greg, you lost again. All right.
You're not going to say the correct answer?
You didn't even let me give you the correct question.
Okay, what is the tradition of 4th of July?
The hot dog eating contest. Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Every year on that 4-letter network, ESPN.
Okay.
So yesterday, Joey Chestnut downed several days ago, Joey Chestnut downed his own personal record, and Jaws went on to set a new personal record and a new world record at 76 hot dogs he ate with bun in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Great.
So that's the only tradition in Independence Day history?
I don't know much else.
Okay.
So, Greg, I'd like to know, how many wieners could you fit in that stupid little mouth of yours?
Our first patriotic question comes from Gabe over on Facebook.
Do you want people just to write in then what the answer is? How many they think you can get in your mouth?
No one humor.
No one humor.
Terrible joke by Aaron. Gabe wants to know, the Constitution is done. It just needs a few more signatures, but some of the forefathers are reluctant. What kind of promo would you cut on them to get them to sign it, Aaron?
Okay, I'd come out on a Monday night live, and I would say, you have 7 days to sign this or face the consequences, because you're either with us or you're against us.
I like that, actually. It's not bad.
And then somebody like Buff Bagwell would join.
What?
Huh?
Buff Bagwell?
Yeah.
In 1777?
Yeah, well, maybe his great-grandfather, great Sir Buffington Bagwell the first.
I don't know what promo I would top to... what promo I would cut to top that. Not really sure.
Well, promos aren't really your strong suit, so...
Talking doesn't seem to be my strong suit today. I'm all over the place.
But walking, you look good doing that. Huh? Congratulations on all your success. You changed your diet, I see. You were eating oatmeal earlier.
I eat oatmeal a lot.
Are you influenced by anyone?
No.
Has someone recently come to you and said, maybe you should get in better shape?
No.
Okay, why the change then?
I eat oatmeal all the time. You just don't see
okay,
me
I don't care about that. I'm saying over the course of, I don't know, the last 2 to 3 months, you have changed.
I don't think I've changed that much.
You bring over, you didn't bring over this bullshit that you got in front of me now. Hydrocharge, and then whatever this milk thing is here.
It's Core Power muscle.
Yeah,
milk.
see, you weren't doing that before.
I drink that all the time. The Hydrocharge is for my water, so I can drink more water.
Yeah, so what inspired you to drink more water?
Nicole.
Okay.
She's a dietitian. I'm not whipped, you idiot. You actual moron. What? I don't even know what that means.
Okay.
But Nicole's a very positive influence on me, and I get very insecure about my physique, even though there really isn't that much wrong with it. And when we started dating, she asked me, how much water do you drink? And I said, not a lot.
Yeah.
I hate drinking water. And she said, maybe just drinking more water would help you. So
you have been?
Well, per the advice of my good buddy Adam. Oh, I'm sorry, Edge. We were DMing on Twitter, and I saw that he posted about Hydrocharge, and I said, hey, just so you know, I'm picking this up. Think this is a good call? It was really just an excuse to DM him because clearly he had already put it over in a video. And we just started talking back and forth. He said, makes drinking a gallon of water a day a lot easier. So I drink this HydroCharge all the time. And even though I'm also drinking Starbucks green tea currently, I was drinking it like pretty much daily. So now I'm not. And the HydroCharge is much cheaper than going to Starbucks for $3 green tea every day.
Mm-hmm.
But this has nothing to do with patriotic questions. So Jeremy Feller over on, I believe it's Feller, L-U-R-E, not like Bob Feller. Jeremy Feller.
Who? What?
What? Of course I would.
Oh, I want to hug you right now.
I know some baseball. Okay.
I wasn't expecting that. That's way deep in the archives.
Yeah, I used to have a Bob Feller autographed ball. I don't know what happened to it.
Too bad it's not worth shit.
Well,
I mean, Bob Feller was great, but he was one of the first to like really start hit that autograph baseball card show scene in the 80s, and he kind of hoarded himself out to the point where now his autograph ain't worth shit.
Well,
but
unfortunate.
It's nice for a collector to have.
Sure. I before I answer this question from Jeremy, I want to point out that I did go to the Indians game this past Friday with Nicole, and during the game,
I got a call from me.
You did call me, but also I made sure to not know anyone on the team, including the right fielder whose last name was Ramirez. So I kept going, let's go, Manny Ramirez. And Nicole just kept
that was funny.
Shaking her head.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay. Nicole said, nope, he's not on the team anymore. And I said, what? And he's right there. I see him.
Yeah.
And, she.
That's real bad, man.
And then I said, kept saying, when's Carlos Baerga up to bat?
Jeez, I feel bad for your girlfriend. God bless her.
I said, put in Bernie Kosar.
Yeah, that's even funnier. Wow. I bet people were like, hey, this guy's really witty. We heard that yesterday from some drunk guy. What's this guy's excuse?
I have cerebral palsy. That's my excuse.
You know, when I was a kid, when I go to WWF live events or whatever they used to be called back then.
Yeah.
I would be walking in the parking lot at 13 years old going, is the Honky Tonk Man going to be on this show? Knowing that he was on sabbatical from WWF. And then, a lot of times I go, is Buddy Rogers, the real Nature Boy, going to be on this show? Or is the real Nature Boy, Buddy Landell, going to be on the show? And headlining the card, it said, the Nature Boy versus the Undertaker or whatever.
See, that's what gets the laughs.
Yeah. None of it was getting any laughs.
Oh.
And so there were some people going, this guy doesn't even know wrestling. The joke was on them.
So they thought I didn't know baseball? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what people probably just thought you were annoying.
There was one guy on the Indians named Ernie.
Uh-huh.
And so I said, put in Bert. No rubber ducky for Ernie tonight.
I thought you were going to say, hey, Ernie peed his pants.
No, I didn't.
Yeah! No. Everybody my age pees their pants. It's the coolest.
A lot of Sesame Street references because there's also a guy in the Indians named Oscar. So I said, if Oscar doesn't get a hit, he's going to be quite the grouch. And at one point,
I'm into this. You should have gave me more of that.
At one point, Nicole said, I'm going to go sit over here and started scooting away from me. So it's amazing that this beautiful girl dates me. But we got through it. It was a fun time. Nice fireworks. But
when I called you, what did I say initially? I said, I'm sorry that you're at this game that the Indians are going to get crushed at. And then I said, this is the one game I really am not looking forward to this year because the Tribes had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
And they don't even have half of their team, half of their starters.
Sure.
So I'm telling you they're going to lose. Then you divulged this gem of information that gave me hope. It said, I've never been to an Indians game where they've lost. I'm 12-0. And then immediately...
I didn't say it was 12. I've been to...
You didn't say 12?
No.
I thought you said 12. And I remember I started playing Goldberg's music here. And I was like, yes, finally. Oh, this is great.
I've probably gone to about 20 or 30 Indians games since 1998. And they never lost one time.
Really? That many?
Yeah. Until this past Friday.
Yeah. So. Well, you know what they said, like even when the Steiners lost their first tag team match, when they lost to Doom.
Yeah.
And I remember the After magazine headline was, "The Steiners needed to lose to be great."
Mm.
And I think this is really what's happened to you.
It's very deep.
The Tribe needed to lose one of these games so they could go to the playoffs this year and then win the World Series. Thank God for you, Greg.
Jeremy's question is, which U.S. president
He had a question.
has the most devastating finishing maneuver, and what maneuver is it?
Oh, which U.S. president?
Yeah.
I would go with the first George Bush, and his move was the Patriot missile.
Okay. Eric Phillips.
Oh, Easy-E.
Eric?
I don't know. What's that mean?
Okay. He says you have to make the most patriotic 5-man Survivor Series team to beat your evil foreign opponents.
God bless you, Eric. This is a great question.
Your
already.
opponents are Yokozuna, Muhammad Hassan, Rusev, Lance Storm, and Bret Hart. So which 5
hell of a
patriotic
team.
men are you picking to fight off these foreign fanatics, if you will?
I go Hogan, number 1. Give me the Patriot at number 2.
Okay.
Give me Stars and Stripes at number 3 and 4.
So Buff Bagwell and Mark Two-Goal Scorpio?
No, they weren't Stars and Stripes.
Who's Stars and Stripes?
Buff Bagwell and the Patriot.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were picking the Patriot and then also Buff
I
Bagwell.
think he was twice as good as anybody else.
Okay.
No. Give me that back then. I'll take the tag team of Buff and Patriot. I'll take Hulk Hogan. I got 2 more, right? God, I don't know if this counts, but I want Great American Bash 1990 Sting. Man, I don't want to pick Dugan. But, man, he sure as hell is patriotic.
Pretty patriotic.
Yeah. Nope, I'll take Nikolai Volkov.
Okay, so when he turned babyface?
No. Oh, yes.
Why would you... What? Why was that confusing
Trying to keep
you?
up foreign relations.
Okay. So you're not going to pick the version of him where he was in the $1 Million Corporation, though?
No. Oh, I should pick the Macho Man version when he had the midget with him. Or the... what do you call it? Dwarf? The physically challenged person?
Little person?
The vertically challenged
Listen,
person?
Hornswoggle told me I'm allowed to say midget.
Yeah, I know. He told me the same thing. But, I don't know what our listeners will think.
We're brothers
We
in
have
disability, so me and him can say that.
Yeah, I got asthma, bitch.
Okay. So do you have your team? Is that your team?
Yeah, I'll go with that for now until I change it, and then I'll do an injury angle. Nope. Sorry. It's not Volkov.
Okay.
It's American flag inside of your trench coat, Undertaker.
Okay, yeah.
All the souls in the USA will rest in peace.
All right. Well, I'm going...
Or Drake Younger.
Wow. Okay. No.
Is that... Ooh, gosh. Is that...
I'm going to say...
taboo now, or?
Hulk Hogan. I'm going to say Kurt Angle.
Ah! That's so good.
I'm going to say...
He is an Olympic hero.
I think I'm going to
How
say
about that?
Mark Henry.
Okay. He did wear that USA outfit,
Yeah,
though, his
yeah.
debut against
See.
Lawler.
He wore that for a while.
Dude, you're smart, man. You're smart.
He was going for the Olympics. So those would be my first 3. I think
I
would...
think you got to have a tag team.
I'm
You don't have to.
trying to think who would be a patriotic tag team that I could add to the mix here.
You
Really round
could
this
do
thing out?
Bagwell and Scorpio.
Nah.
Okay.
I don't
You
want-
could do Duggan and Volkov or Duggan and Slaughter.
No. I don't know if there's a...
Probably Sergeant Slaughter needs to be there. He was very patriotic for a long time.
I think I'm going to pick... Well, I could pick the U.S. Express,
I like that.
Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda, but I don't think I'm going to pick them because I'm in memory of his passing. I'm going to pick the Patriot,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to round out my team with probably the most patriotic wrestler I could think of, Captain Rod Destiny.
Oh, They were going to say Lou Albano.
No. Rod Destiny's going to captain it. Not Hogan.
Yeah.
Rod Destiny.
Yeah, I sure did screw the pooch on that
You
one.
sure did.
I
So,
could have had Rod. Hey, bro. And I knew he wouldn't be doing the job.
well, hey, listen. We appreciate all those questions, those patriotic questions. Gave you a little something over on Patreon. Extra special. Those were all of the patriotic questions, which we did exclusively over on patreon.com/Iron and Wrestling, so you can hear the extended version of the podcast over there, as well as the other extended version of past podcasts, which also drop a day early. I should mention that as well. Usually the podcast drops for free on Wednesdays, but you can get it a day early on Tuesday. It's good stuff over on patreon.com/Iron and Wrestling. And listen, that's all that we have for this week. Do us a favor.
What about Cody Rhodes?
What about him?
Would you say he's one of the top patriotic wrestlers of current day?
Probably. His name's the American Nightmare.
Yeah, but remember he cut that promo recently on that guy in QT Marshall's faction?
Yeah, but I think that was like just a temporary thing that he was going to be the American Dream.
Yeah, but he still cut that promo.
Sure.
Do you know anybody else who's been cutting all-American promos recently?
Not that I can think of.
So Cody's got to be up there.
Up there for what? You just said that randomly. I'm trying to close the show. And now all of a
Ultimate
sudden you're just talking
Warrior.
about how
Remember when he wore
Cody
the red,
Rhodes-
white, and blue and had the jacket?
Why are you mentioning this right now?
What? I thought that was a podcast subject.
No.
Oh.
We're ending the show.
Oh, it's over already?
Yeah, we did it.
I'm trying to get in 40 minutes. Do we got 40?
We have more than 40 minutes.
What about more than 40 ounces of malt liquor?
What are you
You ever drank
talking
Old
about?
Chicken?
No. What? Don't know what that is.
All right, man. Let's wrap this thing up. I'm ready to go.
You know, for a short
Let's
time.
take it home.
Hold on. For a short time, I worked at a drive-through liquor store, and I had to sell alcohol to people.
Remember, you called me so upset.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was a horrible time in my life.
Yeah.
And what I hated most about it was I started to recognize beer when I'm going to stores.
Yep.
And that's when I knew I had to get the fuck away from this job, because I never noticed or recognized beer companies before, other than like Bud Light or
Yeah.
you know the
And
the
then
big
all of a
ones.
sudden you started noticing. And you were like, "Oh man, look, that guy drinks Old Chicken."
Yeah, well,
That's
see, I don't
too
know
much
Old
malt
Chicken.
liquor right there.
But there was a malt liquor in a gold can that I can't remember the name of it now.
Uh-huh.
And bums would fucking come in to scrounging up 98
Change?
cents in pennies
Yep.
to buy this can of malt liquor. And I was it was so fucking pathetic. Like 98 cents. And they'd be like 3 cents short. Like, you got 3 cents? I'm like, nope. And I wouldn't sell it to them because I'm that dickhead. All right? Get out of here. Anyways, that's the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed our terrible interview with Tony Atlas. I did appreciate the follow-up with Bobby Beverly. We love the Bev. It was great having him back on the show. If you didn't listen to the episode from a few weeks ago with Bobby Beverly, I encourage you to go back and listen to it. Bobby is one of my best friends, and it's always a good time traveling with him and talking with him on the show. You can hear the Bobby Beverly interview on episode 104. It's good times. And until then, do us a favor. Go over to iTunes, give the podcast 5 stars, leave a comment about the podcast. It helps create visibility for the podcast. Follow the podcast on social media at Iron On Wrestling on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And, of course, follow me on social media. You can find me on Twitter at Gregory Iron, at Gregory_Iron on Instagram. Find me on Facebook. If you'd like to book me for pro wrestling, motivational speaking, pro wrestling seminars, anything really, contact me via social media in a DM or email me at Gregory_Iron@yahoo.com. Especially with the school year on the horizon, I'd like to get back into speaking, and with the change in the times and normalcy coming back, I'd like to come to your school. So let me know. Hit me up. Go to my Pro Wrestling Tee store, prowrestlingtees.com/Gregory Iron. Hit me up on Cameo. You can really request anything on Cameo. It's really going to depend whether I reply to it or not. I think it's fitting that I just got a Cameo yesterday that I can tell you about that I'm going to be doing the next day or so. Here's the Cameo request. I'm going to read it for you. It's from Marlon. He says, "I just love you. Who cares? I'm your biggest fan. Well, not really. Maybe your biggest black gay fan from South Florida, and I'd rightfully snort coke out of your ass." That's what he wrote on Cameo. It doesn't say wish me happy birthday or insult me or I'm graduating. Yeah, I don't know what he wants me to say to this, but I'm going to reply with something.
Yeah.
So if you'd like a cameo, hit me up. Find Gregory Iron on Cameo. What's your idea?
Well, I'm not going to say it here. We got to do it for the cameo.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this much. It involves an 8-ball and maybe a cue stick.
Not interested. What do you want to plug, Aaron?
You would ask that right now, huh?
Okay.
This cameo that we're coming up with. I'll plug that. And at Fair to Air on Twitter, at Fair to Aaron on Instagram. And man, I hope everybody had a good 4th and 5th if you were off. And I hope people enjoyed the fireworks. I don't know. I'm not a fireworks guy.
Okay.
Are you?
I'm okay with fireworks if they're done well. I think when I went to the Indians game this past week, they did a nice little fireworks show set to music with Women of Rock. So, of course, I looked at Nicole and I said, oh, Women of Rock, I wonder if they're going to play Jane's Addiction. And she said, you are an idiot. Again, Nicole, I don't know why you put up with me, but I appreciate you. That's the end of the podcast. Come back next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, come back next week on Iron on Nicole, where we just spend several different moments during our podcast talking about Greg's love life and the woman that is so nice to him.
You brought her up first.
You keep your business to yourself.
Want to kiss goodbye?
You and me?
Yeah.
Right here, right now?
Mm-hmm.
In front of all this person?
No.
Yeah, who's gonna fuck with this? Las Vegas, North Town, bound lunatic. Trick I pack action, good fuck you and your bitch. Even solo, I stuck a mud hole in your whole clique. Bitch, I'm talking shit, cause I rise the rip. Catch your armor getting stopping from a populous pit. There ain't no thing to stop, like there ain't no thing to stop a pump. In a motherfucking nigga's trunk, take her for a cruising, for a bruising, and straight start dumping. Or should I say stomping? I'm a madman, about to hurt somebody. They wanna put me away for life, like John Gotti. But I'ma flip the script on all you tricks. They gon' feel it's real. When I blow some shit, a doom nigga bought a thumb, shake and rip shit up. And if you fuck with me, you getting stopped by us. Yeah. Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Danger, danger, skull and crossbones. Still got my big black steel toe boots on. Evidently, I'm dressed to stomp on any motherfucker here that wanna start some fun. Eclipse, stay ready, like Freddy. Love my steel toes, moist and smelly. Gotta keep myself dressed to kill. Ain't no telling when you're finna need a gang of steel for real. Still rough enough to cut you up, fuck you up. Want a piece of me? Try your luck. I guarantee you gon' fall with ease. And when that ass hit the ground, we gon' swarm like bees. It ain't nothing like a good ass stump treat. Make it sound like a proper ass drum beat. I'm about to break both my legs, stomping your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Sick made on my necklace, now niggas wanna do me. I serve them up like that corner chop suey and give them gutbuster blues like Louis Armstrong. You cheesy like Parmesan, believe me, got armor on the beanie, I got it poppin'. Fuck you if you got a problem, cut you and that's how I solve it. Now keep that gas tank full of petrol. I'm a Negro, Philly act, bout to really act sickly. South Sacramento maniac, Ripley's, believe it or not, I leave them hot like stew meat in a pot. Nigga, I do heat up the block, the last dragon, pants sack and throw up your gang. DOOMSICC, nigga, blow up your stain. Motherfucker, we ain't playing. Rape them, spray them, give them no other ultimatum. Lay them, sick made them. Doomsday niggas is with me, we off the sticky, doing drugs like Bobby and Whitney, mopping the 60. Nigga, you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Doomsday, are you with me? Oh yeah, we about to stomp your motherfucking head. Turn the mic up, yo. Check this out. Cap Crook back in this bitch. You ain't finna get rid of me. I ain't going no motherfucking where. We done found land, and I'm finna run it all in your ass. Check this out. We
We listening to shit from 8 classic motherfucking albums. Check the back orders, y'all. Go back through the catalog. Pick up that 24D. I want y'all to pick up the Pray For Me. Pick up the Season of the Sickness, nigga. Get that XV. Fuck with the Plague. You know what I'm saying? Get the Lotus shit. Go on in here. Sin City Underground Volume 1. You need all that shit.